Hi, this video is an overview of how to make presentations for your online class using Google Slides or PowerPoint. For this video, I'm going to focus on using Google Slides because it's free and available to everyone with their eastern.edu email account. However, most of the information in here also works for PowerPoint if you have that on your computer. Start by opening up your Google Drive. If you don't know how to use your Google Drive yet, there is another video on this channel introducing Google Drive. Before we start making the presentation itself, I am going to give you the best piece of advice you will ever get about making presentations for class, and that is make an outline first. If you're putting together a presentation, you can save so much time, so much pain, and so much heartache by making an outline before you start. If you're not sure what I mean by an outline, I'm talking about this. It's the structure we use to take notes on readings and also to plan papers. Making an outline of what you want to say in the presentation before you start making the slides will save you a lot of time and a lot of work. So make an outline first. I'm imagining that I'm going to do a presentation on natural disasters. Here's the outline I made before I start to make my presentation. It has the topic at the top, natural disasters, and then the three main kinds of natural disasters that I'm going to talk about: avalanches, floods, and earthquakes. Underneath those main topics, I listed all the things I want to mention in my presentation. For example, when I'm talking about avalanches, I want to talk about the definition of avalanche and the types. I'm going to use this outline to help me build my presentation and my slides. Okay, now that I have the outline, it's time to start making the slides. For this video, I'm going to use Google Docs because it's free to everyone and available with your eastern.edu email account. But if you're using PowerPoint, it's basically the same. In your email, you can get to your Google Drive by clicking the icon that looks like a waffle next to your picture. Then choose Google Drive. When your drive opens up, go to New, and then select Google Slides. Here, blank presentation. It will open a new presentation for you to work with. On the right, you'll see selections of different themes, different colors and styles that you can use for the presentation. My advice is to use a simple theme, like this one. When you click on the theme, it will automatically change all the slides in your presentation to match that theme. You can click the X in the upper right to close out the choices once you have the theme you want. I chose this theme for my presentation about natural disasters. This is the first slide of my presentation, the title slide. In the title slide, include the topic or the title of your presentation in about 1 to 3 words. It shouldn't be any longer than that. Also, include your name and the name of the class. Some people also like to include the name of the professor, like you would at the top of a paper. Either is fine. So to make the title in this theme, I would click here and type, and then my name here. Now I'm ready to add the content slides. In the upper left, you'll see a plus sign with a drop-down menu. This will give you different kinds of slides from the theme that you can use for your presentation. I'm going to choose this one because it starts with a title and then has room for text. You're going to make one slide for every topic that you listed in the outline. Good thing you made that outline. You're going to make one slide for every topic in the outline in your presentation. So this was my outline. It started with avalanches. That means avalanches will be the second slide in my presentation after the title slide. I'll have another slide for floods, and then another slide for earthquakes. Because I only have 4 topics in my presentation, I'll only have these 3 content slides. Let's talk about how to make those content slides. The first and most important rule is that you should never put a paragraph in a presentation. I don't know if you've ever seen somebody give a presentation with a slide like this, but it is the worst. As soon as you see all this text fill the screen, you're either rushing to try to read it or you give up and you fall asleep. That's why we never fill a slide with text. Never put a paragraph of text on the slide. Oof, even looking at this, I'm getting overwhelmed. Instead of putting paragraphs, always use bullets for a slide. Here, I've recreated the outline style on the slide, given the information I want to share about avalanches. It is so much more clear and so much easier for the people watching my presentation to read and follow. In general, the rule is if you're giving a presentation, it's better not to read it. It's better to speak freely because you sound more natural and you're more engaged with the audience. But if you must read for your presentation, read from a piece of paper that your audience can't see. Don't put a big paragraph of text on the slide and then read that. That is the easiest way to make your audience both bored and lost. So if you really need all the information for yourself, have it on a different piece of paper, not on the slide. Okay, let's talk about how to make that outline in the Google slide. First, I'll add my title. Then here in the text, I'm going to start with the definition. And going back to my outline to check, I want to include that it is a large mass of snow, that it detaches and moves at high speed. So I just put everything in a row, and now I'm going to make my outline. I make my outline by highlighting the text and then selecting 1, 2, 3 for a numbered list. When I click on this, it makes a numbered list. But the problem is now everything is at the same level when actually my topic is definition and everything else belongs under it. So I'm going to highlight everything underneath. And then I'm going to select this icon that looks like 4 lines with an arrow pointing to the right. When I click the right arrow, everything moves underneath. Everything that I highlighted moves underneath the topic, and now I have a good outline format. To add more, I go back to my outline, and it looks like I want to talk about the types of avalanches. But now this is on the wrong level because types is a main topic. It should have a 1, not a D. So I'm going to highlight that and find the icon with the 4 lines and the arrow pointing to the left. When I click that, it moves back to the right place in the outline. Now this is a topic to the left. Underneath, I add my information. And again, highlight the information, and the arrow pointing right moves it to the right side. Now I have a good outline for my slide. Here are a couple of things you can do if you want to make the slide clearer. You can highlight all of the text and make it larger by clicking the plus button next to the text size. You can also choose this icon with an up and down arrow to double space the text if you want more space in between each item in your outline. If you don't like the numbered outline and you prefer bulleted outline, you can click this icon with the bullets and it will change from 1, 2, 3 ABC to just these bullet dots. And you can change back by clicking the numbers. When you're making your outline, remember, you should never have more than 5 words after a bullet. Here's an example of a bulleted list that is still really distracting and confusing because it has these long sentences after each bullet. You want your bullets to look like an outline with just a few words after each bullet, no more than 5. This is much clearer and much easier for the audience to follow. You may also want to use images to make your presentation more interesting. If you'd like to add an image, go here to the Insert menu, Image, and then you have the option to take those images from the web. So click Search the Web, and it will open a search here. Since my slide is about avalanches, I'll type that here. And it gives me a lot of different images that I can use. If I want to use it, I just click on it and drag it over to my presentation. Then I can use the blue dot at the corner to change the size of the image and make it right for my presentation. Images are fun, but please don't go crazy. Don't use too many images on the slide. It's distracting for the people who are watching the presentation. Choose one good image, and that should be enough to keep your presentation clear and interesting. In general, you want to keep the slides of your presentation clean and simple, because people are trying to watch your presentation and listen to you at the same time. So you don't want too many things distracting them. When you're ready to make the next slide, a good trick is to click on the current slide, right-click on your mouse to open the menu, and select Duplicate Slide. This will give you the exact same slide again, and then you can start from what you have instead of beginning at the beginning. So now I'm going to talk about floods. I can change the top, but there are a lot of fun tools in Google Slide for making your presentation, but I want to keep this video simple, so I won't get into them now. Next, let's talk about recording a presentation and uploading it to Brightspace as an assignment. To do this, you need a Zoom account. You can set one up for free by going to zoom.us, clicking on My Account, and either signing in or setting up a new account. Once you're in Zoom, choose the option Host with Video On, and click on it to open the Zoom platform. When your Zoom meeting opens and it's just filming you, you'll start by clicking Record in the bottom tray. When you open Zoom, it will give you the option to record to this computer or record to the cloud. I recommend you record to the cloud so that you can get the meeting from the internet at any time. But if you'd rather save it on your own computer, you can do that too. Once you're sure that the Zoom is recording, go to the presentation that you made. Once you're sure that you're recording, make sure that your presentation is open in your browser. And then in the bottom tray on Zoom, select Share Screen, and then choose to share your presentation. Click Slideshow to make your presentation fill the whole screen. Now you can give the presentation on Zoom. Use the arrow keys to click to the next slide. So I might say, hi everyone, this is my presentation on natural disasters. And then I would click the arrow key to start presenting the next slide. When you're finished, stop recording in Zoom. Then your recording will go to the cloud, or it will be on your computer where you saved it. If you shared your presentation to the cloud, go to the left-hand menu in Zoom, click on Recordings, and your most recent recording will be at the top. You can click on it to download the video so that you can upload it to Brightspace. I recommend that you practice doing your presentation a couple of times before you record it to Zoom, especially if you don't know how to edit video. That way you won't have to start a million times. Do some practice rounds, see how long your presentation is, and then record. Before we go, I'd just like to give you a couple of more tips about presenting online. The first one is that you never use words that you don't know or haven't heard spoken before. It can be embarrassing if you don't know how to pronounce a word or you're not totally sure what it means. Make sure everything you say in your presentation comes from you. It should be in your own voice and your own words. Please remember that just like papers, presentations can have plagiarism. So if you're reading something that you didn't write, you can have the same consequences that you would have if you used plagiarism in a paper. Again, make sure you're speaking your own words in the presentation. I strongly recommend that while you're presenting, you use signposting language. The best way to give the content of the presentation is for you to follow the outline and use the outline as your guide while you speak freely. It's better than reading something off of a piece of paper. So for this slide, I might look at the outline and say, avalanches are large masses of snow. They detach from a mountain and they move down at a really high speed. If I were writing a paper, I probably wouldn't say really, but presentation language is a little bit more informal. So I can say something like a really high speed in my presentation. I want it to sound natural and like I'm talking. Always make sure that your presentation has a clear ending. You can use signposting language like, that's it, thanks everyone for listening. Or in conclusion, there are many types of natural disasters. Just say something so that people know the presentation is over. So this video has been a general overview of how to use presentation software and Zoom to make a video presentation for an online class. I made this video for Zamara because she was asking for some more information about how to do online presentations. So if you have a question, something you'd like me to make a video about or go into more detail about, please let me know. I'm always happy to give more support for your work in class, your assignments, and everything that's part of your educational journey here.